Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Mr. Tobin.
Thank you. Warami, and welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to thank the University for their acknowledgement of us and for the invitation to welcome you here this afternoon. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated, particularly by our elders. Education is highly valued in Aboriginal culture as well. Knowledge meant survival, and our elders are traditionally accorded great respect for their accumulated wisdom and experience. My family descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. As such, he enrolled his daughter, Maria, into the Native Institution, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie himself, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. Maria studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them, and it became known as the Blackstown, where the present-day city of Blacktown gets its name from. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here this afternoon. And with good reason. Your progress progresses us all. Your advancement is our advancement. Now that was perhaps more readily understood in traditional times when clan groups were smaller and people abided by the strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you brought back in from your day's activity was distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your good fortune and efforts literally nourished the rest of the community, and you in turn were looked after and supported by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we get clever about it. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly did in many respects, and I use occasions like this to recommend them to yourselves as a benchmark or a model on how good to expect our lives today. You see, when Captain Cook arrived south of here a little over 240 years ago, he described the people he encountered at Botany Bay as one of the happiest people he'd met in the world. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They made shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, harvested food from the land without tilling the earth. In traditional times, everyone was accorded rights to the country or clan area where he or she was born into. So there was no homelessness, and no rich and poor either. Everyone had pretty much the same amount of gear, what you could carry. There were no armies or jails or even police. No history of slavery or empire building. People cooperated to collect the resources which were needed, and then they were shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in the natural state, rivers were clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of the creeks here as they have done for the past 20,000 years. So remember, this is not an ideal, this is normal life, usually. And there's no reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. So I would say to you, expect great things from your lives, and do great things. There's still much magic in the world, and each day presents opportunities where we can make a difference and create a future worthy of our children. We can all do our bit. I'll do mine now by winding up and letting you good people graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you and all the best in our collective futures. Welcome to country. Yana.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan. Mr. Egan.
Thank you, Chris Tobin, for your welcome to country. Well, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I'm pleased to see we also have some babies with us today because Macquarie University likes babies. And we particularly like babies that make a noise, believe it or not, because From experience, we've discovered that if a baby squeals during a graduation ceremony, he or she is back within 25 years to take out their first degree. And in fact, the louder the noise, the higher the degree they're likely to achieve. So please don't be embarrassed if your child makes a noise. None of us will be bothered in the slightest. Well now, it's my very great pleasure today to preside at this very important ceremony. First, I welcome all of our graduands, and I hope that this will be a very happy and a very memorable occasion for all of you. Now, if you are going to enjoy the day, you do have to relax. Some of you look relaxed, but some of you look rather nervous. There is absolutely nothing to be nervous about. You have already passed your exams, so you don't have to go through that ordeal again. I generally find when people walk across the stage, they're rubbing their hand because they've got a sweaty palm. Don't worry about it, because the person next to you has too, and the person behind you, and usually so do I, so don't worry about that. The only thing that can go wrong today is that when you're up here on the stage, you trip and fall over. Well, don't worry about it, that's happened before, and we have all that taken care of, and we always have a special person who's designed to pick you up, who's designated to pick you up when you fall over. And on this occasion today, that's none other than the Chancellor of the University of New England, the Honourable John Watkins. That's what Chancellors do in their spare time. Well now, as I say, relax, enjoy the day, because you deserve to enjoy it. Completing a degree is never easy. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind. You need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome and congratulations to each and every one of you. Today I also want to welcome, and especially welcome, those of you who are sitting behind our graduands as their invited guests. Because if you think about it for a moment or two, you've all obviously done very well also. The very fact that you're here, the fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you've been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate today. So mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, cousins, sons and daughters, grandmothers and grandfathers, friends, husbands and wives, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers, or whatever you are, congratulations and thank you for celebrating this great occasion with us. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role. I have another very important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they'll soon become. I want you to make sure that the degrees they receive today are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing to proclaim their own success, you make sure that you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing today, and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Macquarie, by comparison, is very young, only 49 years of age. But in those 49 years, we've come a long way. We now have more than 145,000 Macquarie graduates living in more than 140 countries. Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We're regarded as one of Australia's leading research universities and are currently extending our research as we are our course offerings and facilities. We're always trying to engage with the world around us. We've forged strong alliances with the community and with industry and are keen to establish more. On your way here this afternoon, you may have seen our relatively new Macquarie University Hospital, just 3 years old, which, as well as being used for its primary purpose of treating sick people, is also used by the students and academics in our also relatively new School of Advanced Medicine. You may also have seen our new library, which was opened last year and which provides a 21st century learning and research environment for our students. Or you might have seen our new Advanced Hearing Hub, which was only opened a few months ago, which is a world-leading institute dedicated to advances in hearing, speech and language science. So we're looking forward and we're on the move. We want we want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in just a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Thank you.
Chancellor, I call on Mr. Daniel Coote, who is graduating today with a Master of Applied Finance, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Mr. Coote.
Thank you. Chancellor, members of the university, fellow guests, fellow graduates and guests. It is a tremendous honour to be speaking before you all this afternoon. I remember being excited about my undergraduate graduation, but for me today is even more special because of the level of effort that was required to get here. We have many and varied reasons why we decided to undertake our degrees at Macquarie University and are now sitting here today. My headline reason for undertaking the Masters of Applied Finance was because I was changing the direction of my career and wanted a solid foundation to support that change. Slightly less well publicised, however, is that if you check the transcript from my Bachelor of Commerce, which I also obtained here at Macquarie, I think you'll find that I majored in a pinball machine called the Twilight Zone that used to sit up in the Union Bar. Now, I was very good at the Twilight Zone. I probably could have gone on to honours, but my dedication in that field did very little to help my undergraduate results. Now, I've always put my undergraduate performance, or lack thereof, down to lack of application, but I guess there has always been that niggling suspicion that I might just be a bit thick. I had a major point to prove to myself undertaking the Masters, as it offered me that rarest of things in life, a second chance. In getting here today, I think it's fair to say that we've all gone far beyond what we previously understood to be our own personal limits. We've juggled priorities, we've made sacrifices, we've worked under pressure, we've lost sleep, we've consumed mountains of chocolate, we've negotiated steep learning curves, we've hit deadline after deadline, and somehow we've found ways to repeat this process weekend after weekend and month after month. Therefore, I want to congratulate all of my fellow graduates on this fantastic achievement being marked here today by this graduation ceremony. We will look back at completing our studies as being one of the major achievements of our lives, and so today is a very special moment for us all to enjoy. But we haven't gotten here today on our own. We've made a lot of friends and we've found ways to share the load. We've shared knowledge and ideas and participated in the odd rigorous debate and had a bit of fun along the way. We've also tested the patience and support of our loved ones and our friends. And on behalf of myself and all of my fellow graduates, I'd like to say a very big thank you to all of our guests here today, our friends and our families, for sticking by us, for coming in with those cups of tea, and for picking up the slack while we've been engrossed in the term structure of interest rates or something else exciting like that. I'd also like to say a big thank you to our lecturers for the passion that they demonstrated towards their subject areas, and to Macquarie University for the quality of the Applied Finance course that I did. I really enjoyed the course, and I can see why it's so highly regarded out in the finance community. While I'm extremely happy not to have to spend my weekends studying anymore, I will definitely miss what I found to be a great environment in which to learn and to challenge myself. One of the biggest things that I think we'll all take away from having completed our studies at Macquarie, whether or not there were any niggling doubts to begin with, is that when we really apply ourselves, we open up possibilities that we might not have thought existed previously. I expect that our greatest personal challenges actually lie ahead of us, but we can take a huge amount of confidence from today and from the journey that has brought us here. As great philosophers Socrates, and Bern Ledecky teach us, confusion is the mother of all wisdom. So I encourage you all to embrace confusion, embrace those challenges that lie ahead of us, and to keep learning. I wish all of my fellow graduates all the best with the next stage of our lives and our careers. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. That was a great speech. I congratulate you on your master's degree. Let me assure you, you're not thick. I don't know that we have a master's degree in pinball playing, but we could always look at it if you were interested. But certainly, congratulations on your second degree. Just because you've got 2 degrees doesn't mean you can't come back for a third. So we look forward to seeing you either for more study or for very many other reasons in the years to come. We hope you maintain the association with Macquarie. I think he deserves another round of applause for a great speech. Well, graduands, we now come to the central part of the ceremony, which is the reason we're here. That's the conferring of degrees. But it is the one part of the ceremony that makes me a little bit nervous, because I've been told that if I confer a degree on someone who's not qualified to receive it, there's nothing I can do to take it back. So before I confer your degrees, I need an ironclad guarantee, an assurance from our Deputy Registrar, Mr. Jonathan Wiley, that none of you ever missed a class, that none of you were ever late for a class, and that none of you were ever late in submitting an assignment. And if I have that assurance, we can graduate you today. Jonathan?
Chancellor, I certify that all candidates being presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees please stand?
That's you, believe it or not. Graduands, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Faculty of Business and Economics. This is the largest faculty at Macquarie and one of the largest in Australia. A broad range of programs in some of the most exciting and topical areas of business and economics are offered, and these continue to be in high demand both domestically and internationally. Graduates have recorded employment levels and starting salaries which are well above the average for all Australian business schools. Research in the faculty is cutting edge and innovative and feeds directly into teaching, giving students the best possible learning experience. The faculty includes research and study areas in accounting, actuarial studies, applied finance, economics, management and marketing. Chancellor, I now call on Professor Philomena Leung, Head of Department of Accounting and Corporate Governance in the Faculty of Business and Economics, to present the graduates. Professor Leung.
Chancellor, I present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Business and Economics whom you have admitted to degrees. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Philip Alexander Hines for a thesis entitled Ethical Issues in the Context of Earnings Management Using Germany as a Case Study. Dr. Edward Paul Tello Melendez for a thesis entitled The Role of Standardized Water Accounting in Enhancing the Accountability of Australian Water Management. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Accounting Professional, Li Ping Chang Chen. Nasuko guests. Lancy He, who has been awarded the Vice Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Mohammed Mohsen. So Fan Hu. Jia Ming Wang. Akihiro Kanamori. Amandip Ho. Li Yu. Yan Yi Lu. Phong Nan Pham. Saima Rahman. Muhammad Asid Yus Yasmin Jota. Xie Xuan Shun. Anthony Tedja. Danny Tie. Yuan Yuan. Ji Zhang. Wen Wei Zhang. Wei Jianzheng. Zhu Zhu. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Applied Finance, Paula Rossan Boone. Bernard Joseph Campbell. Daniel William Coot. John Anthony Corcoran. Renata Susan Des. Victor Disowski. Robert Anthony Fimmel. Andrew John Gregory. Vicky Han. Dewey Ayanti Yasmi Harijana. Veronica Alessandrova Kersner. Ivan Churk Hao Lam. Chou Wang Li. Li Lang. John Lockton. Evan Hideo Much. Sebastian Ashley Grant Mullins. Luke Leslie O'Brien. Mohan Rangasamy. Mohammed Sultani Khosrow Shahi. Alessandro Spina. Sean Tay. Effie Safiria Sarotis. Jing Wang. Andrew James Wiley. Yi Shou. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Commerce, Ya Zhang. Ren Chen. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Applied Finance with the Bachelor of Commerce Professional Accounting, Liam Monica Aldora. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Yawen Wang, Jing Wu, Feng Yang, Man Tong Yang, Xiao Yin Yang, Wei Chao Yao, Si Chung Yao, Hao Ran Yin, Cam Wing Yu, Bao Xiong Zhang, Bin Zhang, Bo Zhang, Jia Jun Zhang, Jing Ya Zhang, Zhen Chao Zhang, Jia Shou, Tian Yi Zhou, Wen Ru Zhou, Xiao Yu Zhou, Kenan Zheng, Sha Long Shu, Xin Rang Shu, Yuan Shu, I present graduates admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Professional Accounting, Yu Chen Bai. Julianne Coveney. Wei Xing Ho. Yin Fan Hu. Xu Fan Wang. Jeremy Edward Divers. Sladana Kasanik. Mi Kwon Kim. Xu Wei Liang. Wing Yan Ng. Member Walia. Yan Miao Lek. Yan Yan. Yi Ting Queenie Yao. Arthur Su Hong Yang. Chu Chu Ying. Saikan Yogaswaran. Chen Ho Gabriel Yu. Hung Yu. Min Chu Yu. Sen Yu. Ding Yuan. Jia Hui Yon, Ong Ki Yun, Bo Zheng, Chen Zhen, Chen Lei Zhang, Dan Yan Zhang, Hao Liang Zhang, Jian Ya Zhang, Junyi Zhang, Kai Yao Zhang, Lu Dong Zhang, Qi Zhang, Wu Yan Zhang, Xin Ran Zhang, Yan Zhang, Yi Zhang, Yu Chao Zhang, Jing Shao, Ye Ji Shao, Xi Lang Zhou, Linda Zhang, Mo Han Zhou, Xi Jingzhou, Fai Bai Shu, Peng Shu, Xiao Xiao Shu. Xiao Yan Shu. Chancellor, that completes this afternoon's presentation of the graduates from the Faculty of Business and Economics.
Well, that wasn't too bad, was it? That glorious voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Angela Brewer. Would you like to hear Angela sing just a little bit more? Okay, it's very simple. You enrol in another degree, and when you come back for your next graduation, Angela will be singing. Now, I've had the great pleasure in this week and last week of hearing Angela sing 12 times, but I'm not going to hear her sing now till next February. It's too long to wait. I think she deserves another great round of applause. And we're also very fortunate to have a fantastic organist over there, Dr. James Forsyth. And a fantastic trumpeter, Melanie McLaughlin. And sitting next to them, and I think perhaps a few over here, we have some of our alumni volunteers who come along to our graduations to make sure that everything runs smoothly at your graduation, and they deserve a great round of applause too. Now, today is the last of really 2 weeks of graduations, and a lot of work goes into all of them. And we have a great graduation unit here. It's headed by Kate Maitland, and I'd like to thank Kate and all her team. But before we give them an applause, Kate, could you come up here on the stage, please? Kate is leaving us for 12 months because she's going to have a baby very soon. In fact, I was a little bit worried that it might have come this week. Kate, all the very best. Well, graduates and ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure at today's ceremony to honour, in accordance with a resolution of the University Council, the Honourable Mr. John Watkins for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters Honoris Causa of Macquarie University. I now invite Professor Bruce Doughton, the Vice-Chancellor, to read the citation. Professor Doughton.
I invite the Honourable Mr. John Watkins to stand for the citation. Chancellor, it is a distinct pleasure to present the Honourable John Watkins, former New South Wales Deputy Premier, currently Chief Executive Officer of Alzheimer's Australia, New South Wales, and Chancellor of the University of New England. Mr. Watkins' life and career have been exemplified by service to others. First as a school teacher and local councillor, throughout a distinguished political career, and more recently as a leader in education and healthcare. Mr. Watkins served as an elected member of the New South Wales Legislative Assembly between 1995 and the year 2008, representing the people of Gladesville and then Ryde. During this time, his ministerial portfolios included fair trading, sport and recreation, police and corrective services, transport, finance, state development, and education and training. In 2008, Mr. Watkins resigned from his political life in order to become the Chief Executive Officer of Alzheimer's Australia, New South Wales. He had seen personally the effects of this devastating disease and believed that his appointment to the role of CEO afforded an opportunity to continue to help those in need. In political life and beyond, Mr. Watkins was often characterised as always a voice of reason and common sense, a man of great warmth and personal dignity. He was widely regarded as one of the outstanding figures of modern Labor politics, tackling some of the most demanding portfolios of government and never losing his sense of decency and compassion. As well as his role at Alzheimer's New South Wales, Mr Watkins chairs an international aid organisation and one of Australia's largest not-for-profit healthcare providers. Mr Watkins' service to Macquarie University includes 6 years on the Macquarie University Council and his current role as a member of the Advisory Committee for the Centre for Emotional Health since 2009. In April this year, he was appointed to the Chancellorship of the University of New England. Chancellor, it is with extraordinary pleasure that I present to you the Honourable John Watkins for the award of the degree Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
John Arthur Watkins, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Watkins. Well, graduates and ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Dr. Watkins to present the occasional address. Please welcome Dr. Watkins.
Well, it's a happy day. Thank you. Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, members of the university, graduates and guests, I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land and their elders, past and present. I'm very proud to be here and I know you are as well because of your great success, and I congratulate you. I've known about Macquarie University since before I really knew what universities were for, and it's always been part of my life. This beautiful blonde girl lived next door. Her name was Susan. I was just a little boy and she was studying here in the 1960s. In the 1970s, doing the HSC, I studied here in the library with another beautiful girl, Deborah, who I later married, and she's sitting here today. In the 1980s, I completed a master's course in English literature here, and in the 90s served as the parliamentary representative on the council. In 2007, I was Minister for Transport in New South Wales, and I had the pleasure to name the Macquarie University Railway Station just down the way. And as I'll probably be buried just over the back at Macquarie Park Cemetery, I fully expect to be watching over the university for all eternity. So to join you today to receive this degree is a singular delight and a rare honour. And I sincerely thank the Council and the university community for the privilege. Indeed, it's a special day for every one of us graduating and for our loved ones and families. As Mike said earlier, the graduation ceremony is an ancient and appropriate public recognition of your great sacrifice, your hard work, your scholarship and the support you've received from your loved ones. And I really hope that you enjoy this special day and remember it always. And thinking about our connection to Macquarie University, it strikes me that life is long and human tenure at this place called Macquarie almost timeless. The traditional clans walk the folds of this land for generation and their echoes surround us. Most of them have now been gone over 200 years, but this was their place for 200 times that 200 years. The tracks they travelled through here between the Lane Cove River and the Parramatta River were well traversed. The shellfish middens along the riverbanks, both Parramatta and Lane Cove, and the lonely and abandoned rock carvings that you come across if you walk down some of the bush tracks, and the soot-stained sandstone overhangs speak of their long stewardship. And that's the stewardship we have now inherited. They were tribe. Sorry, I'm a bit upset because that little boy crying over there is my grandson. He's not crying, he's laughing. So the Aborigines that lived here were tribal, traditional and spiritual people, but they had qualities that we would recognise today Like all of us assembled here, they had their dreamers and their explorers, their bold leaders and their romantics, their practical gatherers and their storytellers. Some were responsible and hard-working, others anxious and overwhelmed, and a few were lazy and deceitful. The common threads of humanity and our love of this land binds us to them. In their fields and forests, the remnants of which still remain around here, they taught their children lessons about animals and the weather and the stars, and they raised their families, they loved their partners, they cared for their infants as we do. Here they found time to develop deep beliefs about their land and their place in it, as you may have done. Here they delighted their youngsters with stories about trees and flowers and lizards and clouds, as you may have done if you've got little children. Here they laughed with their friends and worried about their ageing parents. And it's here that young lovers found lonely places just to be together, as Macquarie students always have. This has been a place of learning and friendship and creativity for some time. It's a place where love, that most exquisite companion of our days, has always been present. But it's now a university, it's our university, and it will outlast every one of us graduating today, just as this land outlasted those first people. I find myself dwelling on these thoughts of history and connections as I grow older, and I wonder what it is that motivates us as individuals and as people. And I suppose a range of factors has brought us here today, both you and me and everyone else here on the stage. Ambition, hard work, commitment to career and professional responsibilities, and they're all good and proper, but I fear that they won't sustain us in the long run. They do little for that most precious inner life that we all have, and often work against our greatest needs. The desperate need we have as people to connect with others, to find peace, to be immersed in loving relationships, to tend to our spiritual life, which we all have, to look after those qualities that really make us happy and fulfilled. And on reflection, I figure I should have spent more time on those things in my life. I suppose we all think that. More and more I find myself contemplating these things. Often as I walk to the Ryde pool every morning, go for a swim. And as I walk, for most of the year it's in the dark, I pray for three things for that day. First is for gratitude. To be given the insight to recognise that the gifts I've been given and to be really grateful for them, for my family, for my wife, for my children and my grandchildren, for my health, for the opportunity of having an education, which so many people just do not get, for the privilege of being born in this most lucky country at this most prosperous time, and to be thankful for the world that we live in, for life itself, for every breath and every heartbeat that's given to us. And I finally realised that without gratitude, life is often a chore and can become mean-spirited and fall into selfish expectation. With gratitude, life can be a delight, and I realise that all that's best in my life has been gifted to me. And as I walk along Victoria Road in the morning, watching the blue and then the grey and the pink of the dawn, I pray that I be for others that day. Try to remember that a fulfilled and happy life is actually about being committed to other people, to serving the needs of others, for those that are certainly close to us, our family and friends and our colleagues, but for also those that we may not know but cross our path every day, those we interact with, even the poor and the unattractive, the person next to you that you may not know, the person in the lift, the homeless that you meet on the street. Now I know that's hard. The self is the most alluring and attractive of all companions. To be other-centred is difficult to achieve, but it's a worthwhile struggle. The alternative can be selfish and closed, where it's easy to justify and it's potentially very limiting to all of us. And finally, as I walk under the trees that are filled with ibis birds, I pray to be holy, and to that I mean to be set apart, to seek some time each day that is apart from the everyday that crowds in on us, to ask what is it that I should be doing with this day and with this life, to listen to the deeper yearnings and the currents of life that are so easily overwhelmed in the noise and the clutter of our days. And I suppose these are some of the yearnings that have always brought human beings to times of quiet contemplation, for Christians in their churches, for Muslims in their mosques, for non-believers to meditation, and for those Aboriginal clans to their dream time. Humans have always nurtured and protected that inner spiritual life. That need is stronger in a world where everything works against quiet contemplation, where silence is becoming a rare thing. Now, this is not meant to be a resentful dismissal of the modern world and our place in it. Success by the standards of this world can be important, and to seek it out a worthy endeavour. So you should network with your colleagues, you should be ambitious and work hard, you should develop your skills, come back to Macquarie and study further, seek promotion and satisfaction through your careers, and enjoy the remuneration that you receive. But my hope is that you take care not to do all of that at the cost of your peace of mind, your family relationships, your health, and the responsibility we all have to be forgiving, compassionate, just and kind to ourselves and to others. Shortly we'll conclude this ceremony, we'll gather our things together, we'll have the photos taken, we'll say farewell to former colleagues, and we'll rejoin the normal rounds of our lives. Please take with you congratulations for your great success, hopes for your future career, and confidence that the education you received here at Macquarie will sustain and benefit you wherever your careers take you. And feel welcome to return, and when you do, give a thought to all of those who went before, including the spirits of our forebears who dwell here with us. Again, Mike, Chancellor, thank you for the great honour that the University has bestowed on me. Thanks very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll agree that was a truly wonderful occasional address. I'm not sure, however, about these lonely places that young lovers find on our campus. I wasn't aware of them, John. I'll get the Vice-Chancellor to do something about them quick smart. But there was some really good advice in John's occasional address. I think it is important. Every now and again, and daily if you can manage it, just to step aside from the busyness of life and to reflect on what you can be doing that day and what you can be doing with your life. And I think if you do that, then it will assist you in many, many ways. So John, it's been a real pleasure to have you give the occasional address. You've had a very long association with Macquarie. We appreciate that very much, and thank you once again for coming today. I didn't know that little baby was your grandson. If I did, I wouldn't have let him cry. I would have made an exception there. But I'm very glad that he's here. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it's certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you're part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of Macquarie alumni, which now spans the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support, and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And please do make sure to come back to Macquarie, either to undertake more study, to attend alumni events, or perhaps just to use our aquatic and fitness facilities. Well, now, graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges. But like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to do it either, because almost everything you do in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society through the decades, indeed the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or a kind gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned, not only for your own benefit, but also for the benefit of the community. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you have acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you've enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, to go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Now, graduates, I hope also that you'll always remember the people who have helped you along the way, many of whom, your families and friends, are here with you today. So to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask you to do a couple of things. Graduates, will you now please stand? Now I'd like you to put your degrees on the seats behind you so that your hands are free, and I'd like you to turn around to face your families and friends, and now I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. Now, graduates, you can turn around now, but don't sit down because we'll be leaving in just a moment. Here on the dais are some people, the representatives of our academic community, who've supported you throughout your journey at Macquarie, and I'm sure you'd like to thank them too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the official party will now leave the graduation hall through the centre aisle and will be followed by the graduates. I would invite everyone to now please stand. And please remain standing until the last of the graduates have processed out. And then I invite all of you to join us in the marquee overlooking the lake for some light refreshments. We even have some ice creams for the children and for people like me. Well, now, graduates, I wish you the very best for the future, and in the words of the old Irish blessing, excuse me, may the road rise up to meet you, may the wind always be at your back, may the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Thank you and good luck.